Microsoft originally aimed for a 2028 release of its next Xbox console, but court documents indicate that it could offer greater flexibility in terms of available models for the next generation. Although plans may have evolved, a May 2022 meeting that was attended by top Microsoft executives, including the CEO and CFO, as well as Phil Spencer, made reference to this anticipated launch window. So during this meeting that was in May of last year, they basically referenced that in 2028 they are expecting to release the next Xbox console. Transcripts from the meeting were made public as part of Microsoft's legal battle with the U.S. Federal Trade Commission, which seeks to challenge Microsoft's proposed acquisition of Activision Blizzard. So during this meeting, one Microsoft executive inquired whether the next Xbox console might depart from fixed hardware specifications, and the corporate vice president of immersive experiences noted the console's strength in providing a clear platform for developers and the excellence of the game development kit in this regard. Another question pondered whether the plan for 2028 was to maintain a model similar to the existing one or shift toward a more adaptable Windows-like approach. And Kevin Gamel, who is the corporate vice president of gaming ecosystems, and there are a lot of fancy titles, by the way, in Microsoft, yet Kevin responded by acknowledging the progression toward flexibility in the Xbox One and Xbox One X, which would continue with Series S and X. He emphasized the need to be even more flexible in the future, while ensuring creators could leverage unique hardware capabilities. And regarding the potential launch timing for new hardware, Microsoft lawyers, in statements to the UK's Competition and Markets Authority last year, apparently stated that the new generation of Xbox consoles are not going to come out anytime before the fall of 2028 at the very earliest. Both Microsoft and Sony introduced their current generation consoles, Xbox Series X and S, and then also the PlayStation 5 for Sony, in November of 2020. If you remember, it was the height of COVID, and due to the supply issues surrounding the whole pandemic, that greatly affected plans for mid-cycle hardware updates, despite past console generations seeing significant upgrades after 3 to 4 years. And so about 3 months ago in June, Xbox boss Phil Spencer indicated that a mid-cycle upgrade for the Series X was not at that time a priority for Microsoft. He expressed concerns about the complexity such frequent upgrades could create for both developers and players, emphasizing the importance of letting developers maximize the current hardware's potential. Further, Phil Spencer suggested that the industry might be exploring alternative models and stated that they were, quote, kind of at the end of the beginning, end quote, of the current console cycle. Overall, to me, it sounds like we may not be getting a mid-cycle hardware update, or at least it's not extremely prioritized right now by Microsoft, you know, like an Xbox Series X Pro or, you know, Elite or something like that. Apparently Sony will be getting a PS5 Pro console. I'm not sure when that's coming out, but it sounds like for Xbox fans, they may not be getting a mid-cycle hardware update. And in terms of the next generation of Xbox consoles, Generation 10, as I believe it is being labeled, well, it sounds like, at least for Xbox anyway, they will not be issuing that until fall of 2028 at the very earliest. So that is 5 years from now. I don't think that's like completely terrible to think about. I mean, yeah, you know, at least 5 years from now, that sounds like a long time from now, but it is probably a good thing considering a lot of different things. One being the economy, right? A lot of people don't want to upgrade their console, you know, every 4 to 5 years. They don't want to lay down $500, $600 on a new device that frequently. It's just very hard on a person in terms of finances. Funny enough, if you actually go onto Wikipedia, there is actually an article called Home Video Game Console Generations, and it basically outlines all 9 so far of the console generations. And yeah, we are currently in the 9th generation. It started in 2020. And something to keep in mind, the 8th generation, which was PS4 and Xbox One, that lasted for 8 years. And the 7th generation, which I believe was Xbox 360, the Wii, the DS, and the PS3, that lasted for 12 years, from 2005 to 2017. So in case you think 2028 is a very long time from now, and maybe that's, you know, ridiculous, I don't think it is. I think that sounds completely reasonable. And like I said, it's fall 2028 at the earliest. While it is definitely cool to think about what the 10th generation of consoles will look like, it's definitely good to know, at least for me anyway, I think it's kind of good to know that we have a while to go. We have some breathing time, some breathing room before we got to lay down another $500, $600 on the 10th generation of consoles.